Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
Arrival of black ships pending. All walk no abominations. Please report to the disembarkation point.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie P. And joining me tonight are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk from Jacket Close Painting. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
What's up?
So it's been a pretty exciting weekend. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the tubes. It's been like a couple of new things here and there. We're going to talk about tonight pretty much the whole time, I would imagine.
I mean, Gen Con, lots of fun stuff there. I heard there was a 40K tournament with a bunch of people in it. Obviously, Gen Con has billion people that show up now. Is that an accurate number?
It's like 1.5 billion, I think.
1.5 billion in attendance at Gen Con 2019. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. These are real facts. And it was Warhammer World had their previews after their big Apocalypse game.
Was it like the biggest Apocalypse game ever? Does anyone know?
Yes. I mean, that's what they marketed it as. Whether it was or not, who knows?
I mean, you can make bold claims on the internet all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I've modeled my entire life after that concept, Rob.
Me too, for the most part.
Lots of new stuff, Space Marine things. I mean, it's an exciting time to play 40K right now. I mean, so many events coming out.
I feel like we say that every couple of weeks lately in 2019. Can I get a fact check on that?
There's a lot of events now. There just is.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I'm sure we're going to talk about some GT stuff.
Oh, yeah, we got some GT coverage, some upcoming events. And obviously, there's this thing called the Best Coast Pairings. You can go to their website and see all the events in your local area, which I encourage you to do. But there is going to be a few that we're going to list off here, dates and everything, that we're probably all going to be at, or at least some combination of these people. Let's address the elephant in the room right now. Michael Haspil, the legendary author of Graveyard Shift, not with us tonight. He is writing. He messaged us with a very ambitious set of goals. My man is pausing his Patreon page, Quantum Throff Dispatches, his other podcast, everything. He's taking a break from the podcast. You guys have seen him do this before. He's in the Beats Lab writing. If you guys are looking for the next installment of Graveyard Shift, maybe the Umbra Case Files with your two favorite paranormal detectives, it's coming. And I believe it's going to be a series of novellas narrated by Mike Haspil himself. So,
so excited.
I'm beyond stoked. So obviously, we're rooting for him. He's too proud to take any help here. I told him that he should have just repurposed the Patreon into like sort of a crowdfunding page for the time investment, get it off the ground, maybe, take a few days off work. He's like, can't do it. I'll just pause it since I'm not delivering. I'm like, promises to these people's like, I mean, yes, you're upstanding dude, but like at the end of the day, lots of people want to support you. So at the very least, if you see Mike Haspil on Facebook, which he said he disabled all his apps from his phone and stuff for distractions. If you see him on Facebook, send him a message. Tell him that you're rooting for him. You can't wait, to listen to the next installment.
Keep that motivation going.
Yeah, if you post a really spicy meme about The Boys on Amazon, he'll probably respond. It's like our new obsession. First it was Chernobyl. I mean, like a good Chernobyl meme. Still get him probably. We're all about The Boys right now.
If you can put the two together.
Ooh.
Oh God, the Grail. Like the Holy Grail.
That's a twofer.
He will definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, it might take a break.
Before we get too deep into this podcast episode, Wyatt?
Oh, yeah. So we got a burning question.
How burning?
Would you rather?
Like itchy nuisance, or like what are we talking about here?
Oh, I mean, it's like a hunk of burning. Would you rather? So, would you rather forever, constantly feel itchy all over, or forever constantly feel sticky? And not like a mild nuisance. I'm talking like
Okay, we talking jar of honey, like, how you open a jar of honey and then like, no matter
we're
what.
We're talking like a kiddie pool sized jar of honey that you're covered in, or you just went through like 100 yards of poison ivy.
So an itchy nuisance, or you...
Are we legit poison ivy nuisance level? Like
to yourself.
Well, no. Like, so you're not going to have honey on your body, and you're not going to have...
These are mental illnesses that you are genie bestowing on me, right? Like, I feel the feeling of that itchy.
You feel that all the time. So you got to choose always poison ivy skin or always feel sticky AF.
Okay, so quick question to the genie. Is the sticky scaled to the pain I would feel the itchy? Like, it's like I'm as sticky feeling annoyed.
Yes.
So it's not like one is clearly better than the other because like this hurts, so I take sticky. I am exactly as debilitated by the feeling of stickiness as I am by the feeling of itchiness.
Of course.
So 100%. Do your clothes feel like they stick to you?
Yes.
Even though they don't?
Yes.
Because this is like a metasol in your head, bro. It's like...
Yeah, like you have that feeling of like maybe you like just got out of the pool and your shirt is like sticking to your skin and it's really annoying, and so you like constantly have to readjust it, except with like sticky honey.
Like my balls to my leg all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yourself sticks to yourself.
Or my balls itching all day. Whew. See, that's where I go to with this. Like at the end of the day, like I could scratch myself, adjust my baseball cap, whatever. No one's going to think I'm a weirdo. But when your balls are stuck to your, in some cases, your knee, for some of the people here. When your ball is stuck to your leg, and you got to adjust that because you have a debilitating, crippling mental, compulsion to adjust it or scratch it. This is what I'm talking about here. So ultimately, Rob, are you more comfortable being observed adjusting your balls because of stickiness or scratching them because of itchiness?
I feel like in this day and age, both are kind of socially acceptable. Like
somebody in chat says that's called living in Florida, y'all.
Yeah.
Tony.
I don't know. They're kind of equal to me personally. Like I'm just like, they're both like whatever.
No matter how many showers I take, I still feel sticky. Yep. No matter how much whatever medical ointment I put on, I'm still itchy.
Yep.
It's a tough one.
Man, that's rough. I mean, like ultimately, I don't think I could do my job if I felt itchy all the time, so I'd have to take sticky.
What about like when you're touching the minis, like typing? Like, do your fingers feel sticky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'd have to go scratchy then.
Go scratchy?
It couldn't work.
I already have like a sticky ball problem. So like, this is just like, but now I have to always think about like, how do I not get monkey pawed by my decision by the genie? So I kind of feel like I have to pick both.
Can't pick both. It has to be one or the other.
Wow.
Gotta feel like I was like, I'll take them both, genie. Hey,
no.
Wade.
No.
Bold move. Let's see how it plays out.
I kind of feel like I have to go with being itchy because I know it'd be harder to do my job, and therefore the genie would be lenient on my life.
I mean, you're pretending like the genie has any semblance of empathy.
Yeah, the djinns aren't, or whatever.
It doesn't.
Aren't down.
I think stick. Okay, then it's back to balls. Like I'm more equipped to manage a sticky ball sack than an itchy ball sack. So I pick sticky.
It's a solid answer.
And Rob, because of typing, picks itchy.
Well, like your hands aren't going to physically stick to anything. You're just going to feel that way.
But you would constantly be in error because of that and compulsion on the keyboard.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
he's already scratching his little hands. He's already like, I can't even handle this.
I'd have to go with sticky because like I think you could eventually get used to the stickiness, but like with itching, you might actually like damage yourself by having to scratch. Like if you start scratching, there's no end to it.
Well, like there's an easy way to game being sticky. Just be fucking sticky. Who gives a shit? Like I'm gonna change my lifestyle dramatically to embrace the sticky life.
Just be sticky boy all the time.
Who gives a fuck? Like I can't tell anymore.
Well, I think we sufficiently gamed it.
Yep.
Ish.
Big shout out to a new subscriber. Now we are recording a podcast and I forgot to disable our alerts. So if you hear any intermediate interesting sound effects in the background on your way to work, just know that somebody has supported us on Twitch. Just Frost. Thank you.
Is that what those cat meows are?
I am not familiar with hearing, is that your life? New would you rather? Would you rather hear Twitch alerts all the time or a constant string of cat meows? Rob's like, trick question, that's all I hear.
That's it. Wait, there's other things?
This is my personal hell.
Yeah.
Well,
as Russ in chat says, like, I mean, basically Dirty Mike of the boys now. Just embrace the new lifestyle, being sticky all the time.
Find some Priuses, man. Get up in there.
All right. So now that we've gotten the would you rather out of the way, which is our attempt to connect to the viewers through advice we were given by my brother David many years ago. He's like, I'd like to see more segments where you guys just talk about dumb shit. If at any point the dumb shit we talk about is just unmanageable, let me know in a sternly worded email sent to Rob.
Yeah.
Joke's on you. I get emails for you all the time.
He does. He does.
You'd be surprised the number of people that think you work for me.
I do.
I'm not.
I work for you in many ways.
We're all working it.
And I could do more for you if you let me, Rob. Front robes, back robes.
I feel like we're back to that elevator situation from earlier.
More stuff.
All right, cover some news.
Let's cover some news. Do that news thing.
Just as a callback, I'm just concerned that these would you rathers are stackable because I don't know, based on Jason in chat, if I can be Toenail Boy and Sticky Boy at the same time.
That would not work.
That might be too much.
You have to kind of assume that, like, with each of these, it's like a new life.
Okay.
Like, you're an individual, like a new player character every time.
Okay.
So we don't have stacking. If we had like stacking, would you rather's like
you'd be dead in like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't Warhammer. You can't stack these. Come on.
Can't stack. It's negative.
You mayo chugging sticky.
Oh, yeah. Start the morning with a jar of mayonnaise followed up by a sandwich weight worth of toenails while feeling sticky for the rest of my life.
And an entire raw fish.
I'm gonna
eat like a savage.
Yeah.
Like you're dead. No, you don't make it to lunch the first day.
Well, yeah, because you have to go to the Long John Silver's down the street and get something off of their seafood menu.
Yep. Got it. Sorry.
And make sure you bring your pea jar.
I didn't mean to bring it back to pea jars, Rob. Please bring us back to professional podcast.
Semi-professional podcast
Semi-pro.
engaged. Semi-pro. So next week, if you haven't heard, there's a lot of Space Marines coming out. We'll probably talk about those here very, very shortly. New White Dwarf 2. I actually missed July's White Dwarf. Was there a July's White Dwarf? Is this real life? I don't know. $9. Then Ultramarine Chief Librarian Tigerius has crossed the Rubicon, and he's become bigger, better, stronger.
I'm excited.
Him and Sorocon, actually. $40 US for both of those each. Then they're doing this ambitious thing where they take an upgrade sprue and they pair it with a decal sheet and put it out for $25. The White Scars are getting one of those deals. Then there's 4 repackages, and I think there was a late breaking update to the prices for this because I know these prices aren't wrong. So Scouts, it says here that the Scouts are $25. Repackaged Sniper Rifle Scouts, $25. I think they're $30. Predator is $57.75. I think that also went up. And a Razorback for $41.25, which I think also went up, but I don't have those prices for you. So if you see the reboxes of those come out this weekend, also note they're not reboxing and selling the Rhino. There's probably a reason for that.
It's because the Razorback is a Rhino.
Everybody pour one out for our homie, the Rhino, this weekend.
Burn your rubber bands in remembrance.
It's very, very sad time here. Codex Space Marines is coming out for $40 US, which isn't unheard of. But what is kind of new is the fact that now you can buy a supplement to go along with it. We don't know exactly what's going to come in any of these supplements. We know right now there's Ultramarines and White Scars. I think they confirmed Raven Guard too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they said that all of the founding chapters, minus the guys that already have their own codex, will have one of these supplements. And they hinted at what's going to come with it, because they're going to have chapter-specific data sheets, and they're going to have their own pool of stratagems, the weird cards that people only use for open play. I don't know what those are called. And their own psychic disciplines.
Right. There is 2 psychic disciplines, one for Ultramarines, one for White Scars so far that we know of. I'm sure there'll be one for Raven Guard too. So if that's what we do know is there's going to be 7 new books. 6 of them are Codex supplements. 1 is Codex Space Marines. So presumably they're all going to be $30 for the supplements, $40 for the main Codex Space Marines. And we know that Crimson Fist and Templars are going to be a main Codex Space Marines, but that's all we technically know at this time. Now, gluten-free gut check time. I imagine next week we won't see more books. I think they're going to spread this out. I don't think they're just going to be like, and here's the rest of the books. I think they're going to spread it out. They're going to try to sprinkle in the new vehicles. But remember, too, we haven't...
I like the way you phrased any of that. We're going to spread it out and then sprinkle in.
Sprinkle it in. Spread it out.
Everything you do got to be nasty.
You got me. My mind's just in the gutter all day, every day.
Don't you mean they're just going to be wise with their marketing campaign and slow roll their pushes based on known,
dates and
data? Like, I mean,
so you're telling me that there's probably going to be a big release around Labor Day?
You're telling me, like, I don't know. I'm not in charge of things like that. I'm just in charge of making sure you don't, get me tooed by saying gross things.
That's fair. There are 2 data card sets coming out too for $15 each with those weird cards that everybody uses in narrative play as Wyatt described them.
What are they? Tactical objectives?
Tactical objectives.
I just call them feel bads cards because so many of them are like busted and cause feel bad.
They go wrong. They always go wrong.
Wait, is it tactical deck? Is that the one you play when you're playing like the standard Maelstrom missions?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love those, dude. Honestly, it's one of my favorite ways to play G-Dub, like on the DL, like not playing ITC. A fucking, just like 2 dudes, you square up, you get your decks. That's how we play all our local events here, actually, at Next Gen Games and Comics, is just 1,500 points tactical deck. And I think if you just game for it, it's awesome. And I also think that GW was missing out on an amazing opportunity to shade Speezify 40K with build your own tactical decks.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that before. That could be cool. They'd have to some of those cards are a bit weird because if you tool for it, it just becomes impossible to beat you.
When I spent some time looking at them and like doing something like, 13 card deck, blah, 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 like how many different combos can I come up with? I spent like a week on it. And basically I came up with like 3 combos anyone can use based on their army, like DPS, board control, whatever. And there's like basically a built-in wombo combo, like a huge swing that if you pulled it at the right moment, you could like just take the game from somebody, which I think is exciting. And if they put some thought into it and then gave us new tactical cards like Shadespire, I mean, I think GW is sleeping on an opportunity. I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm just saying it could be fun. But at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. I play ITC format, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all do for the most part on the competitive and want to be competitive.
It's more balanced in the end.
Yeah. There are new dice sets coming out too, which are semi hard to read, but that's okay. They look pretty cool. They're $35 now. So in less than a year, dice have gone from 20 to 30 to 35.
Yeah. They're cool. I like did we see if that Ultramarine set has the U on the 6?
Not sure yet. No.
It's on the 1. Those are terrible. I don't like those.
I think they've learned their lesson after
Slaughterfest was like straight up no GW dice.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Like these are good wound counters, but I'll never roll them because they're going to get banned at a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, they're definitely.
Why would you put the fucking cool symbol on the fail pit?
Well, and some of them have 2 symbols. that are hard to distinguish between which one is the 1 and which one is the 6.
I think that was their attempt at actually balancing the dice, so they weren't cutting out the chunk on the 6 or the 1, and then it was flipping back.
The Custodes ones I remember are very big time offenders of that, where they're both sort of like an I shape, like a letter I, and it's hard to tell which one is the 1 and the 6.
Yeah, I mean, everything for Custodes is broken. I imagine Custodes players are just keeping their heads down right now, like, oh shit, they forgot about us. Sweet.
Oh man, I mean, I played a super meta Custodes list in Slaughterfest, and I was like, this is what everybody was scared of.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely a two up save ain't what it used to be after.
Well,
this
I mean, triple Caladius and mini Caladius and double Telemine, right? At that list, like I said, I encountered that there. Has a lot of alpha strike ability. Like it does. And that's what, and that list really thrives on that. Especially with the right kind of terrain. They're all fucking flying vehicles. They can all get into positions that you don't want them to be in. Hide really good spots, jump to the top of buildings and shoot you. Has a lot of tools. Now, it's definitely not unbeatable, you know, but it is undeniably powerful.
Yeah.
It's very hard with that list to spread out and start taking objectives early if they're not.
It's got to kill you. Like it's what it has the right type of firepower to take all your models off the table. Yeah.
It's got the tools to get the job done. That's for sure.
If you're not prepared for it, it's nasty. I was just playing it up for comedic effect because I beat the pants off of that at Slaughterfest.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I mean, regardless of like I said, I beat it too, and I still think that the Caladius is unappointed.
If you're really into Space Marines, though, you can pick up the Space Marine Limited Edition Codex set.
Ooh, how many dollars?
$250 US.
I gotta buy that. You gonna buy it? What?
Fuck no.
For the rest of us peasants out there, we might be able to afford the Ultramarine Collector's Edition for $65 or the White Scars Collector's Edition for $65.
See, now that I might actually get, because the last time they did quote unquote chapter limited edition codexes, it was just like a cover. Remember those?
Yeah.
Same book, but with a different cool cover on it.
And it had the little bookmark. Boop.
Yeah, but for this, because it's actually an Ultramarines book, I might have to go ham on that.
Yeah, maybe pretty dope. We'll know more. I mean, we got a couple days. I think tomorrow we'll know more on Tigerius and Khan, and then we'll slide into whatever they want to show us for. I don't know. Fridays are kind of a shit show on their previews, but it could be pretty much.
We'll probably have a handful of more stuff to talk about going into next week because it's still like a whole other week before it releases after the.
Well, the books will be out all over YouTube this weekend, so anything you're going to want to know, you're going to know this weekend for sure. And then
clickbaity site's going to pick them up.
What's that?
Any of those clickbait sites going to pick it up?
Oh, at least Spiky Bits for sure.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll probably put out some posts.
God, if I had a nickel for every time I clicked on one of those clickbaity ass Spiky Bits titles.
Let's be real.
And then was bombarded. Hold on.
One of those.
Let me finish. And then I was bombarded with an entire article of well-written material.
It takes an hour to an hour and a half to write, because we just don't cut and paste all the text from Warhammer Community. We actually, we put it in, we read it, we put it in. And don't get me wrong, we make mistakes, we make typos. So does Warhammer Community. So does any site, actually. Another big tabletop gaming site didn't know the Roman numerals the other day. That gave me a chuckle, but we all do it.
Who does though, honestly?
I mean, it's just checks and balances.
Like when I see like the D and the M in there, I'm like, you lost me.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it takes a long time to write these posts up, and we really give it a good effort. So, yes, the title, it'll get you in there, but once you're there, we got the mods.
Yep.
So that's what it is. Limited edition collectors also coming out this week, not on the GW side of things. We know that Creature Caster has a new model coming out, the King of Ecstasy. I think it's August 15th, I believe, is coming out. They also have their acrylics. The Pro Acrylic has 2 new expansions, Translucence and also some new regular colors, which I used some of them on stream the other day. I used guess what greens and yellows I used, Kenny? Can you guess? You probably watched the stream.
What? Do you watch my stream?
I do.
Every time, always?
Not every time.
For all 3 hours?
Nope.
So that is about my
3 hours.
I have a yes.
Yep, I watched it all 3 hours.
So I did not catch the moment in which you pulled out these two specific colors in your stream. No,
it was the greens, their version of the greens you made semi-famous.
They're so Pro Krill Wave 1, real awesome artistic quality set of paints that I've grown to love. What I love about them, as you can see Wyatt in the frame above me, if you're watching.
Yeah, they're right here.
What I love about them is that, like, you know, they're like bold pyro red, titanium white, coal black, warm gray, ivory. They hit you with like the real names. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. Like, you know, if you just know a couple things about painting, you're trying to look for some more artistic guides, they really help you. Like they have a green, which is like literally just a green tone, like straight up green, chemically, yellow. And what I did once on my show was like, they're like, well, what about Necrotite green? I was like, though I love that color and it's a P3 color and I love P3, you got to realize, guys, it's just yellow and green mixed together. And I did a demonstration on live that proved that. And so in Wave 2, you're seeing a lot of those colors made for us, the consumers, right? So now that they've given you this whole line of paints, you can mix them together, kind of make anything. You may still struggle to make some of the colors you love to use. Well, they've taken some of that guesswork out in Wave 2 and then gave you some more technicals. So it's definitely a good buy. And I think I just got the notification. Mine should be here any day now. And I'll be breaking into them transparency on the live stream.
It'll be exciting. I've been playing with them for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you did that yellow, didn't you?
Yes.
Which
Very
was amazing.
cool.
So all that's coming our way soon, and I think there's a new Kickstarter coming out August 13th or 15th from Archon Studios, the Dungeons and Lasers.
Dungeons and Lasers.
It's I had some. Well, I don't know where it is. I had some of it behind me.
Anybody is watching, I've got the review box right here, full of all that sick terrain. I'm not gonna show you guys here because this is a podcast, but just understand I'm definitely gonna try to pop those dudes out and throw some paint on them.
So what is that? I haven't heard of this.
It's like a modular. You can either make dungeons or you can make like kind of like Space Hulk corridors. You know.
Oh, so it's terrain and not dudes.
Right. Well, there'll be like companion pet models like cats and dogs and stuff as well.
No, there's no like cool hero guys.
I'm not sure. I think there's many like there'll be smaller ones. I don't think they're doing full on models quite yet.
Oh. Not as excited as I thought it would be.
I mean, it's in line with a lot of these new Kickstarters doing like dungeon terrain, you know?
Well, I think the thing that's going to separate them from
injection plastic
is it's injection molded plastic. It's resilient. It's very strong. It's not this buster resin everybody does that, you know, it might come pre-painted. It might not, you know, you might be able to like prime it. You might have to use a special primer. Like it's all that BS that all these companies keep doing. But at the end of the day, this is something that it very easily snaps together. You don't even have to trim all the flash.
I think a lot of them are doing like PVC or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
I gotcha.
Because
which is better than resin for sure. But like to have the equipment.
So that is cool. But somebody posed the real question: does it come with a Space Marine Lieutenant?
Absolutely.
Oh, then I will buy it. I mean, point me in the direction of that Space Marine Lieutenant. I will buy it.
If a Space Marine Lieutenant is a companion adventurer pet, then yes.
100%. I'm down. Let's go. Dungeons and Lasers, baby.
Let's do it.
So look for that one pretty soon. It's important. It's very important just from the fact that some other company besides Games Workshop in the EU has this technology.
Has the technology to do that.
Continue to advance the technology. You could make the argument that competition brings prices down. I don't know if that's the case, but we can all hope. So those are the big things I'm tracking that's coming out this weekend. The world of tabletop war games.
So let's cover some events then before we slide into the meat and potatoes of this episode. With the new Space Marine rules we got some events coming right up. Right around the corner, War Games Con in Austin. That's that's your hometown, Wyatt.
Yeah, dude. Deep in the heart of Texas, we got War Games Con. We've got some new management. I think one of these guys has been involved with it for years and years and years. And his name is John Cook. Super cool dude. If you go to some of the larger events like LVO, he was there. Great guy. And then I believe his name is Adam from Knights at the Game Table, is also an owner of War Games Con now. So that is exciting. It's going to be a great event here in Austin. I'm looking forward to going. And it's like next week or almost
the 16th.
Yeah. So
right around the corner.
Over
This is important because me and Wyatt were talking earlier today. We did a little pre-game show on my tactics discussions to get ready for everything. But before we even did that, we were on TeamSpeak talking about our goals for the ITC rankings this year, Rob.
Ooh.
So we're kind of lining out all the events we want to go to finish out the season because we now have lists we really like since, recent FAQs or things that changed for each of us. And we know how we want to finish the season out and what our target score is and where we want to sit in the global rankings. And we're both shooting to break the top 100 in the rankings.
Nice.
But we'll be very happy if we can just be in the 100 to 200 category, And we've only done 4 events. We realize all this stuff we do, we've only done 4 events, but they're mostly majors, right? So we want to get a few more events under our belt. War Games Con is Wyatt's next event. He has a target score. He needs to pull down at least 120 points on the win side of things. So he needs to win, because they remove your loss points, from your ranking. So it's however many points you earn in just the win categories, and they apply some proprietary multiplier on it based on the size of the event. He needs 120 plus points in the win categories for us to be happy and for him to be on track for our goals. So that'll be at War Games Con. That'll be the 16th. You'll see Wyatt there. Right after that is Texas Trios, September 13th. Another event Wyatt will be at.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. So it's this event called Kumite in Texas, which is half of the event is a fighting game tournament. So you got your Tekkens, your Street Fighter, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Smash Bros, all that cool stuff at this big brand new esports stadium in Arlington, which is kind of part of the Dallas Metroplex. And then the other half of the event is a big 40K event and a Magic the Gathering event. And the way that this Texas Trios works is it's basically like ATC, but it's 3-man teams instead of 5-man teams.
Very cool. I'm stoked on you. So who's all on your team going?
So Marcus, Sabat TC here on Twitch, he is going to be our Chaos guy. And then my other buddy Tyler, who is going to be our Eldar guy. And coincidentally, also was a combat engineer in the Army like me.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you guys. And so that's the other set of scores that we have a target for Wyatt. Depending on how many people show up, depends on what the multiplier is. We're looking for as many 6-round events as possible.
Yeah. It's slated as a major, according to ITC.
Which is great, which is perfect. That's, that gives you a good multiplier. And if it's 6 rounds, even better. We've got SoCal Open, October 26th. Now, this is one that we're both going to be at. This has been a growing event. They've been doing it. This is the 3rd year, I think. It's been growing in popularity. It's one of the coolest, chillest events in the heartland of ITC dick stomping territory in San Diego, right by the ocean. It's an amazing event. We've gone. You were there last year, right? At least, right?
I was, yes.
It was amazing. Last year, I did really good. The first day, I went 3-0. Was ranked 1. Was on a live stream twice. Got my ass kicked by Nick Rose. On day 2, and then just whiffed on day 2. Lost. So 3-0, then 0-3. But with the crushing victories I secured, that would have been good points. So I'm going into SoCal Open with a target goal of 180 points, which is standard for me going to a 6-round event. And Wyatt's looking for something in this in that same ballpark. We have these targets because that's a big 6-round event with a good multiplier on it. So if you're going to be in Southern California at the end of October, SoCal Open.
Yeah, it is a really cool event to go to. Great venue.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Warzone Atlanta, November 8th. This is an important one, guys.
Is there a long war event there?
There's a long war doubles, and it's on a Friday, which is the best way to do it. So instead of like at the end of the event when everyone's tired, long war doubles on the 8th, November 8th at Warzone Atlanta. Rob will 100% be there with his crew. And me and Wyatt are on standby trying to figure out the logistics of getting there. We have a couple meetings, but it should be a good time. They're already on a wait list. Get on the wait list. Me and Wyatt are really excited to figure out if we're going to go or not, because this is an event we didn't even consider that we might play in to advance our goal of breaking the top 100 globally at ITC rankings.
I think it'd be good for you guys to come out. It's at a new venue, bigger space. Plus, we got our event there, and
I really need to go out there and just need to talk to some people. That's all.
Right. We can probably make that happen.
So we just got some business talkings we got to do. I do live in California, and that is 1 billion miles away.
I can confirm it is 1 billion miles.
It's one of the most annoying plane trips. LAX to Atlanta.
Trips are annoying.
For Rob, they are. I mean, no, you're right. Actually, in 2019, all plane trips suck. No matter what, they all just are terrible. And of course, just to conclude this whole discussion, you guys know LVO is the season ender. If anyone out here is ITC tracking, trying to get their rankings up, the season ender, LVO 2020 is in January next year. So if you guys are mapping out your journey to success and your global rankings, no, you have to be at LVO to get your last set of big scores at that super major.
Yeah, really looking forward to LVO again. It's going to be sick.
Oh, and the chat's asking about Nova. I don't think any of us are going to Nova.
That's Labor Day weekend?
That seems right. That's usually historically what it is, right?
I can't tell you what the date is on that, though.
Sorry, it's not on our radar anymore. Sure, you can go to nova.com or something like that. But that's it for GTs that we're all going to and doing things at and what we're excited about. So let's slide into it. Throwing it over to Wyatt. He's going to cover new Space Marine rules.
Oh, yeah. So new Codex goes up on pre-order this weekend. So make sure to get in there and get your pre-orders in. They discussed a handful of things over the last couple of days about these new Space Marine rules. Some of the cool things they talked about in the Codex is we are going to get more stratagems. We are going to get some new psychic powers. And the chaplains are also getting litanies of battle, some prayer type mechanics similar to the Dark Apostle.
The Dank Apostle?
The Dank of Apostles, yes. I think litanies of battle is lame. I think we should kick it back to the litanies of hate because we're haters.
Yeah, bunch of Space Marine ass haters.
Haters, hate. Also, we're going to get those supplements that we talked about with expansions for all of the cool chapters. So let's talk about the enhanced chapter tactics. So enhance. Crimson Fists and Imperial Fists now have a 2-part chapter tactic. The Crimson Fists still have their +1 to hit when shooting at a unit that is double the number of the shooting unit, and Dreadnoughts count as 5 models, basically. And then what they did is they rolled Bolter Drill, which is a 1-point stratagem, into the chapter tactics. So now they just get exploding 6s on bolt weapons all the time, which is pretty cool.
Which is important to note because the reason you start with those two is because they both share the same, suffix part of their...
Yeah, like the second part of their chapter tactic is the same.
And that's actually part of the enhanced rules, guys, the new enhanced chapter tactics. Is it seems like they all have like a prefix and a suffix, like they give you an awesome set of rules and then they say, and, or in addition to, so it's all 2-part. Every single one of them is 2-part, which that's what they enhance it.
It seemed like from the custom, from their paragraph on the custom stuff was that some of the lesser versions, like I guess it would be the prefix, would mirror some of the offerings for the custom enhanced chapter tactics ones.
Yeah,
they're going to be like chapter tactics light. So
Right.
they leave out key aspects of what some of the bigger chapters, the founding chapters, have in their tactics. Imperial Fist still ignores cover, and now they get the exploding sixes, which is pretty cool. Ignoring cover paired with some of the other new rules we're going to be getting is going to be pretty slick.
Solid.
I like that. Black Templars, they're going to be
Personally, one of my
rerolling charges.
favorites.
Yeah, they're going to be rerolling charges, but they get the good one, which is roll any or all of the dice. So you get to basically do it the cool way, where if you roll a 6 and a 1, you can pick up that 1 and re-roll that.
I mean,
and get
that's
you
a
that
great.
charge.
I mean, they got enhanced because they got their prefix and their suffix, but they fixed their reroll to like the good reroll, which is like an average charge range of over 9 inches,
Exactly.
which is incredible for anyone who wants to bring in a little Black Templar Thug Life to their list to get some of those awesome stratagems. But now, like, maybe you bring in a couple Smash Captains who can deep strike and always get the charge. That's amazing in itself. But there's more.
They also get a 5-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds.
Real solid.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because mortal wounds are that thing that give you headaches when you hit that psi power or something like that. And you want to get that Feel No Pain against the mortal wound, and it's a 5, which is pretty cool because
that's really good.
most generic Feel No Pains are a 6. Ultramarines is unchanged because they already sort of had an enhanced tactic.
I think they get a leadership buff.
Yeah, they get a +1 leadership and they can fall back and shoot, and so that's exactly the same as it's always.
It's exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Like Ultramarines basically immune to morale and fall back and shoot.
Yeah, I mean, White Scars can charge in a turn in which they advanced or fell back, which is really cool.
Hold on. Let me interrupt you for a second. So that Ultramarine one is good because anything that ignores modifiers to shooting now can fall back and shoot not at -1.
That is true.
Remember, it didn't apply to vehicles before. Right?
Yeah.
Well, if dreadnoughts were the thing.
Yeah.
So you're right. Something to caveat this whole thing with is it appears that chapter tactics are everything now, just straight up key to the Space Marine, some other keyword, not just like infantry, bikers, and blah 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 characters.
Right.
So that's a great read, Rob. I've been thinking that in the background the whole time. I was like, one of the reasons that my man Alan stopped playing his Land Raider was because I could touch it with anything and it never shoots again. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, and I think anything and a lot of the repulsor stuff.
Well, repulsors that fly, so don't count them.
Yeah,
Well,
they
yeah,
do that all the time.
It's Land Raiders and Predators and stuff. Those were the things that were like, well, if something touches this, it never shoots again. Well, now,
Yeah.
Might see Land Raiders on
Forward
too.
into the future with Space Marines, where it seems like the status quo is going to be grav tech on most of their vehicles. That chapter tactic is mostly meant for your infantry and your dreadnoughts.
yeah, and for that's amazing. Like, I mean, they've
It's now easier for rhinos and predators and stuff.
I mean, there's another layer to this buff, which is awesome. Like, but Ultramarines had a good one to begin with. It continues to be even more awesome.
Right. So White Scars can charge even if they advanced or fell back, which is pretty cool.
Which is hit and run.
Yep. And biker models can move and fire heavy weapons and advance and fire assault weapons with no penalty.
Solid little suffix, to go with, with that little icing on the cake, because that is a really good one, guys. I'm like, you get some White Scars loving your list. They're going to have some new rules, some new stratagems, but like, I'm suddenly into some jump hacky ass White Scars with this hit and run. That shit was a problem back in the day. And even just a little ass White Scarsy Smash Captain who's certainly going to have some cool relic or some shit and some of these new abilities that everyone has read about now, like Space Marines getting an extra attack in the first round of combat and things like that. So many cool things can be applied to like a couple of dudes and jump packs and Thunderhammers and Storm Shields getting into the backfield and just bouncing around. Staying safe, bouncing out, doing whatever they want to do. There's a lot of White Scar fans out there. Stay tuned. It's about to get really good for them.
The Raven Guard got some new stuff, and theirs is worded very strangely. So I'm going to read it word for word, and we'll talk about it. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a unit with this tactic by a model that is more than 12 inches away, that unit is treated as having the benefit of cover to its saving throw. And if that unit is not a vehicle and is entirely on or within a terrain feature, subtract -1 from the hit roll. So it's different than it used to be. They used to just get -1 over 12 inches away. But now you basically get prepared positions all of the time. And for your infantry, you can get the -1 by being in cover. So being in cover is like...
It asks you to do something to gain access to your icing. And it kind of also shows you where GW's feelings on these modifiers is going, on how like these minuses to hit and shit. So I think it's a solid... I mean, I think it's low key. It's real good. Like, I love this, like, for freezies prepared positions.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Salamanders, part of theirs is very similar. They still get their reroll a hit, reroll a wound when overwatching, shooting, or fighting. The cool part about their enhanced tactic is they ignore -1 AP.
Yep. Straight up, like heavy bolters, things like that. They're just like, that's not a thing, bro. You put them in cover on top of it. Whew.
Oh yeah,
it's real strong.
Iron Hands have a 6-up, feel no pain. They overwatch on a 5 or a 6.
That's a new one, right?
Yeah, the overwatch I think is new. And they also have double the amount of wounds when counting their degradation tables on vehicles.
One of the single best things. That's for freezies right there.
Yeah, so Iron Hands are probably going to want a lot of tanks, a lot of dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
All right, and then after that, we got a little bit of talk about how to make your own chapter tactic, which is pretty neat. We still don't have all the information on how that is going to work and the full table of all 19 of those.
Because Rob kind of corrected us on some of our just like snap the way we read it and the way we thought it was going to be. But if you read it all, it's kind of elusive to understand exactly what they're talking about. Right.
And what we noticed too is that these are sort of like, they're like a watered down version of what the bigger chapters get. So the stealthy tactic that they talk about in this article, it's similar to what the Raven Guard have, but they don't get the -1. So they get that cover for being 12 inches away all the time, but not the -1
so
stack.
It's like just the suffix. I mean, just the prefix, not the suffix, right?
Right. So yeah, like that'll be cool. We'll probably wait.
The way me and Wyatt read it was like, it seemed like you get to mix and match prefixes and suffixes.
Yeah. And that's kind of, like when they were showing it, that's what it seemed like.
And a lot of people think that's how other people have interpreted it too. It's not just you and me.
A lot of people have said a lot of things. I've seen comments all over the place. I've seen comments on our posts where we didn't say anything that they were commenting about. And they were just like, it's clear this. And like, that isn't anything that was said.
All we can do is speculate.
Structurally, how they're worded, it makes it seem like
that's the reason they worded it that way. There's a first
part and a second part. And in the article, it says you can combine any two. It's kind of hidden in the wall of text there, but like we'll have to see exactly how it works.
Let's just speculate on this one version. If it is, you can combine one prefix with one suffix. Any combination, right? But not two prefixes, not two suffixes. If that is how making a custom chapter works, that is very cool. And somebody in chat asked earlier, which we normally don't pick them up in the podcast, but Preston over here said, what is stopping a player from making their own custom chapters that are just stacking all the good prefixes and suffixes? Well, first off, two-part answer. First off, that's the point that you're looking to potentially maximize while also catering to maybe more narrative people who already have their own chapter lore and stuff like that. But competitively, which is what we're speaking to, that's what's going to be done if this is the case. That is how it's going to be approached. And to answer your question on the second side of it, the thing that will stop people is you're not a chapter anymore. So all chapter specific stratagems no longer apply to you. So some of the best stratagems that you may want and have access to, you don't have access to. I mean, you're going to have access to the Space Marine Raw Dog Vanilla set, which is pretty good in itself, but that would be the only thing stopping you from doing that. if this is how it's going to shake out, if it's this strong.
Yeah, and that makes sense because they talk about inheritors of the Primarch, which means you can just pick the successor of one of the main things. So I would speculate that you can either be an Ultramarines successor, and I have that same chapter tactic, and they have the Ultramarines keyword for all intents and purposes. Whereas if you want to do your Build-A-Bear fanfic chapter, you don't get all the extra cool shit that the big boys do.
Right.
Right, because you're going to get the watered down choices.
And there is some more, just to come back to that, there is some other wording. Like, some people in the chat are like, but it says you pick two. Now, like, if it literally shakes out that you get to pick any two, no caveat on prefix or suffix, because we're just gleaming that from this new structure. You can just pick any two, regardless of prefix or suffix, and there's no softer chart to pick from, like a watered down chart for you to pick two. If it is literally that strong, but which I don't think it's going to be because they did kind of already show you like a watered down one, and it was separated from its suffix. I think that's enough evidence to support that you aren't going to just be able to pick exactly what you think you're going to want to pick. But speculating the other side, if you can, yeah, that more than makes up not being able to pick the specific chapter tactics.
I don't think GW will let you
or
do
stratagems
like that, because then it amalgamates what one of the things they sell this hobby on, and it's like, hey, I am Ultramarines are my people. Wait, now you can make better Ultramarines? Like, that's not the thing for GW to sell. Remember, you look at all the rules and everything like that. It always has the flavor text before the rule. At the top of the, you've got all these pages of stuff before you get to the rules. You've got anything that can keep you in that universe rooting for whatever team you're rooting for. That is what they get you with. And I think if
but in everyone's journey, everyone always has like a custom chapter, tactic, color scheme part of their journey though, right?
I mean, I guess
there's always that. Now, just to go back to the chat, because a lot of great questions on it. Like, obviously we've commented on like, we don't actually know, right? We don't actually know.
We're making educated guesses based on the context of these articles. So we can't 100% say that we're right, and neither can you, because these articles are not the rule book. It's not like the word of
Russ
woman.
says it best. Russ says it says pick two, but doesn't say from what list. Like very well and concisely put.
Benefits or drawbacks, like we don't know. It could be like the Fellblade chart. It could be like the old Space Marine chapter tactics from 5th edition, where you could take you could take two minors and you wouldn't have to take a drawback, or you could take one big one and you had to take a drawback.
I mean, there are some obvious OP combos if it's unrestricted. But just to last on this, because we have this is a 3-part segment. This is the last one I'm going to pull out of the chat. Deep Sea Nemo. Plus, you don't get special characters or strats, right? So, but remember, guys, let's assume it's the most OP thing that ever happened. Let's say it's just the most gangster version of our speculation. It doesn't turn off your army. I'm talking about cherry picking the most abusive set of prefixes and suffixes for a very specialized detachment in my 3-detachment army. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So then the rest of it could just be straight up OG Space Marines, Ultramarines with all your special characters, everything. Like it can get real dicey if it's unrestricted. And that's all I have on that one.
Yeah, so we will see. So today we got a ton of info dropped about these new units. We've got new units for the Infiltrator Blacks, the Incursors, that are pretty cool. They ignore cover and they ignore negative modifiers to hit. They have haywire mines they can lay down. That's pretty cool. And they have the duelist knives where they can get exploding 6s on hit. So pretty cool. We have the prophesied flying rhino. Finally, the day has arrived. Pretty cool model so far. It has the assault vehicle rule, which lets it move and then drop guys out. But those guys can't charge. So that name is a bit misleading. That doesn't sound very assaulty to me.
Rapid deployment.
Deploy.
Yeah. You can also replace its turret weapon with a bubble shield that gives it a 4-up invul save. We don't know whether it will be just for the vehicle or if it will be a aura. It just says a shield dome for a 4-up invul save. So we'll see. You can also put a missile launcher on there, and a orbital comms array, which lets you call down a orbital bombardment once per turn or once per game. It seems like.
I mean, it doesn't say once per game, but the way it's worded indicates that it's once per game.
Yeah, once per game.
You have to reverse engineer the wording.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's pretty cool. So we'll see how that shakes out. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's an awesome unit. Obviously, if the thing is an aura, a 4-up invulnerable aura that will support the rapid deployment of its own troops,
that would be huge.
fucking amazing. But then, of course, it's going to be 160 points, 100 or more,
which probably won't sell it. But
right.
Because remember that sort of ability is either a relic or a strat, depending on which book you're in.
I mean, it could get it. It could get a stratagem to extend it. I don't know. I mean, I'm speculating wildly. Here's the thing: we're talking about a fucking flying rhino that can carry Primaris Marines. That's amazing. Even if you can't assault afterwards, and it just puts you in a new position to use, like, as everyone knows, 5 Hell Blasters and a guy lets you reroll 1s or some shit. Even if it's like, yeah, even if I'm just behind a building, and now I can fly straight through that building, and I'm here, and here's my deadly unit. That's awesome. That's a drop pod, right? So if it also is really tough to interact with because it's a 4-up invulnerable and it can go and, saunter along the battlefield and harass things and charge things and make them fall back and all sorts of things, that's great. I think it has an amazing set of rules and it does amazing things. It's just going to come down to the points. That's it. And all we can do is guess. Wyatt, who plays Space Marines and has Primaris models in his army, he says if it's too much more over 100 points, he doesn't have a place for it.
Yeah, it's worthless. It just depends on how you want to play your Primaris. Now, on a more sort of like open play setting where, you can just kind of do whatever you want. Like, yeah, it'll be great. A Repulsor has a place there. The Executioner has a place there. But like all 3 of these tanks are probably going to be wildly over points costed.
Well, like now, someone in chat,
any indication.
P-Chan mentions, Space Marine Wave Server, for sure. If it has an arsenal that supports that and has a good variety of bullets that cover a wide spectrum of usability like a Wave Servant does, where it can pop some mortal wounds, it can have things be -4 AP, things are high strength, good number of shots. If it has a solid variety of bullets that it can deploy very effectively, it can be 160 points. That's fine, because now it has a cool new role. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, so we'll see it. I mean, like, I'm going to get one at least because it's a fucking flying rhino. Like, I have to have one.
First off, don't get it twisted. It's a flying rhino.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
All our dreams are coming true.
And then we've got the Neon Genesis Evangelion Invictor Tactical Warsuit Go Lion Go. Super cool Dreadnought guy. It's got some pretty interesting rules. It's a deep striking Dreadnought. It's a stealth Dreadnought. It's like super sneaky boy. It's got a 48-inch heavy 6, strength 7, -1 for 2 damage autocannon.
Yeah, has a 6-shot autocannon, which is real good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a heavy bolter pistol that it holds in its Dreadnought fist.
We don't know how it changes his magazine, but he's got it.
Dog,
got it.
Where we're going, we don't need magazines.
It's an awesome kit. First, it's a mini Dreadnought, mini Dreadnought, Space Marine Dreadnought, a Primaris Dreadnought, maybe even.
Yep.
It looks cool.
It's a Dreadnought waiting to happen.
He's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, it is super cool. And it's the same thing, man. It has a heavy bolter and an autocannon. And there's other options, but like, that's a great set of weapons, right? And if its points are right, and I think its points are going to be right. I just know, like, as Rob brought up earlier, he's like, is this going to be rules and models come together to sell? Because, we've said it before. GW doesn't just make rules to sell models, though they do. They also make models to sell models. This is probably the one, like the Lord D. Like, the model's going to sell itself, and they're going to throw some good rules on it. And I think it's going to be aggressively pointed in the low hundreds, if not 100.
Yeah, one can hope. I'm excited. We've got the new options for the eliminators, as well as some cool new rules for the eliminators.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, they bumped the strength of their triple round sniper bolt rifle up to 5. So now it's strength 5 instead of strength 4, which is really cool. Or you can use these new las fusils that we've been wondering about all this time. And they're pretty legit. 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, -3 for 3 flat damage. Like, these guys are going to be a super close little
Walk me through that again?
Heavy 1, strength 8, -3 for 3 flat damage. These guys are carrying portable las cannon rifles.
And you can add +1 to hit and or is it reroll ones or +1 to hit into wound if you don't shoot with the sergeant?
Yeah, the sergeant gives you +1 to hit and wound rolls if he does not fire.
How many guys in the squad is like standard like?
Well, right now there are 3. With the codex,
70.
we might be able to add more dudes.
How many points is the 3 guys?
72.
And that's for the regular sniper rifle. We do not know the points for the las fusils yet.
Oh, I imagine it's and they come with a camo cloak too, by the way.
Oh, this could be a sick ass little unit right here.
I mean, I made great use of them at Slaughterfest. Like, eliminators are awesome, and they're just going to get even more awesome because of the sergeant ability. And if you give the sergeant this new little carbine, and he just fires Overwatch when they're charged, you can just get up and run away. You can move as if it was the move phase and ruin their charge.
That's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. So like you can move your full 6-inch move away to make it an undoable charge. You can move up a level in a building to make that monstrous creature or dreadnought or whatever not even be able to fight you.
Basically we're renaming the unit the Magic Man. Now you see him, now you don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are the real Dirty Mike and the boys. Like, they get in, they get out.
Yeah. They know what they're doing. They see this vehicle getting ready to charge them or something. They're like, that's a nice F-Shack.
Oh, yeah. Super fun. And they also mentioned that the Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Dark Angels are going to have access to all of these new units. Basically the new Space Marine Vanguard stuff, your Phobos Armor characters, and all of these new guys that are coming out soon.
No doubt. Someone in chat's like, oh man, these guys are going to hit harder than my last Pred. Sweet Nausea is like, come on, man, these are scouts. It's like, agreed, but simultaneously, I believe the right way to advance any game is to make everything OP, and then eventually, when everything's too OP, we do a reset.
Yeah, like, don't get it twisted. Space Marines have been a tier 3 army without Gilliman, and Ultramarines have been tier 2. They are not even close to the top of the game with Imperium, Chaos, and Eldar. So like now they might all be tier 2. Maybe Ultramarines can go up to tier 1 with Bobby G in the list. We don't know yet, but like they got a lot of cool shit, but they're still not even close to the Meta Kings.
Chaos has been dominating all year. Like, of the Super
Chaos and Eldar especially are incredibly dominant in this edition. So in no way, shape, or form are Space Marines going to be.
And if it ends up being the most OP thing, then GW give us some more OP things, and they're going to give those guys some OP things, and everything's going to be OP, and we're all going to be playing OP game, like I said. And then they're going to be like 8th edition, 8.5 edition drops, and then
everything is 2 AP reset.
Yeah, and that's to me is the right way to play an exciting game.
Yes.
And there's more though, right? We have a third part of this thing.
Yeah, the last part is these doctrines. So you're gonna get the doctrines with these chapter guys, and this is the way it works. All your Space Marines start off with a Devastator doctrine at the beginning of the game, and that gives a +1 AP to heavy and grenade weapons. After turn 1, you can switch to the tactical doctrine. It's in a list down the line. So you can go from Devastator to Tactical. And Tactical does rapid fire and assault weapons get +1 AP. And you cannot go back. So after turn 1, you can choose to go to Tactical Doctrine. And then for all subsequent turns, you can choose to go even farther into Tactical and then Assault Doctrine, which gives +1 AP to pistols and melee weapons.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to the point, this is what Space Marines need, man. They need that sweet, bump. Cause like we've always speculated, it's like, how do you make these guys? We need more rules. Like you can't just keep making Space Marines cheaper. You can't keep, like, that's not the right, like, okay, so what? Space Marines are free. Got it. Like they still don't do anything. Now they're giving us some cool ass shit to make them do more. Like that combined with this extra attack on the charge or getting charged rule, this new combat doctrine situation. Whew, this just sounded spicy. And back to the chat, Sweet Naja says that just hope Chaos Space Marines get some sort of love. Regular Marines are still the worst troop choice for Chaos players, and it makes me sad. So let me hit you with this. They're different armies, right? Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines, they're not the same thing. They have like a lore that supports that we came from the same place. But on the battlefield, in the narrative, like everything, however you want to look at it, Chaos Space Marines are pathetic. They are the least important part of the Chaos War Engine. Like the Chaos War Engine is about sorcery. It's about channeling the warp. It's about demon engines. It's about that pact. You know what I mean? Space Marines, they're just cannon fodder. They're bolter fodder at this point, man. Regular, unenhanced, non-mutated, like haven't picked a god, no buffs. Like those are just scouts. Like they're nothing.
Those are your grunt dudes.
Those
right?
are grunts. Yeah, and they're very valuable. Currently, we did get a huge buff to Chaos Space Marines. We got Red Corsairs, Dirty Mike and the boys, 300 point.
All Astartes, even Traitor Astartes, will get some of the Angels of Death rollout stuff where
we got Bolter. We got the Bolter drill, the Bolter doctrine. We got that. We're going to get the Angels of Death thing. And Dirty Mike and the boys is 15 Chaos Space Marines. It's the most amount of Chaos Space Marines I've played in 10 years. I just went 5-1 with that list of Slaughterfest, and Dirty Mike and the boys got me 4 points every game because of engineers doing their one task. Keep an eye on this objective, sir.
Yep.
10-4. Demon engines to the front.
Yep.
Turns out you can't do everything all at once.
Combat doctrines will be only for infantry, but that hasn't been said anywhere. So if that's the case, it'll still be really cool.
It's still a bonus. If it's for free.
If it's for everything, even better. It's good either way. It's just way more good if it's for all of your
I
army.
can see it being infantry only because a lot of things are.
Yeah.
A lot of things are infantry only. And so combat doctrine is infantry only. Enjoy an incredible boon to your infantry models. That is free.
Yes.
I mean, here's pretty fresh either way.
It's really cool. And here's the thing. This is a very weird, murky, gray situation because of the names they have decided to use. So capital S, capital M, Space Marines is not only referring to Space Marines in general, but the faction of Space Marines. Angels of Death has always referred to Space Marines in general, but now there's a rule for it. So because there is no context and there's no clarification on exactly how this works yet, they could mean Angels of Death as in all Space Marines, or they could mean Angels of Death as in this new rule. So nobody is 100% sure except for the people who wrote the rules for Games Workshop.
Rob, as a clickbaiter, professional clickbaiter, what's your read on the way they're releasing this content?
I would prefer that you refer to me as a masterful baiter from now on.
As a master baiter.
Yes. That's not what I said, but yes.
Can you still go around playgrounds?
Wow, now we're getting weird. It wasn't weird before. Now we're getting weird. This is the weird part. I think you got to remember, the people writing these articles are not the people in the studio. They're not the people that are, communicating and playtesting and all this stuff. And they might have to ask a lot of questions. And some things might get lost in translation where the dude standing over their shoulder or feeding them the information for the article might just make assumptions and he doesn't understand keywords, whatever, there's going to be a disconnect between these posts and rules unless they have the book in front of them and they have this list of criteria to go by, because that's really the only way you can standardize it. So I think at the end of the day, you just got to give them some space. You got to be like, all right, we'll know everything soon instead of.
And they have a job. They have a different job.
Yeah. And you just gotta step back and be like, all right, we're gonna know in like a week. So but
it's fun to get high to our speculation.
Yeah, it's fun to theory craft and try to figure all this cool shit out. I mean, like, if you're gonna tell me that Space Marines get these doctrines and not clarify infantry, I'm going to assume that my Leviathan Dreadnought now has -3 AP on it.
Even though evidence would support exactly the opposite, that they didn't want to tell you yet because they wanted you to get hype and keep consuming the content until they drop that restriction.
In which case, I'll be like, well, it's still a fucking Leviathan.
You still got, you're just like, still tight. But you got, there's a whole week of this new emotion, you're online chatting people up, you're advertising for them, you're marketing for them. Like, there's a whole reason that it's like this. They leave things out on purpose. It's not, you guys see how we organize our show at the beginning of the show, and we talk about things like what's a good title for this week, and then for next week, and what are we going to talk about this week? GW does that with $1 million budget, So regardless, dedicated our whole lives to this hobby. Stoked. I can't wait.
It's gonna be a really exciting week next week when all this stuff comes out and we start seeing new previews. Although, don't get your hopes up for all the books all at once, because if I was a betting man, I would say we're gonna see some gaps. We're gonna see some gaps in the release.
I would also say if you play Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Grey Knights, do not expect to get these doctrines. Like, you will get some Angels of Death stuff, like the +1 attack and all that, but this is very clearly how we go to battle using the Codex Astartes.
Yeah. That the people deviate from it.
Yeah, they have historically had their own book because they have their own cool rules, and you don't need these. So would it be cool if they all got that? Yes, of course. I would be super psyched if all of my Dark Angel buddies could play this too. But I'm just saying, do not assume that you're going to get any of the stuff from this codex other than what is specifically stated by the company.
Yeah, at least right now. Right. So that was a good 3-piece, Wyatt. Thank you for doing all that research for us. I wouldn't have known any of this if it wasn't for you.
Not a bit. Not once.
No. I mean, I just read some clickbaity websites and copy pasted all that.
We should start our own blog. You and me, Wyatt. We should start our own clickbait blog. We're just gonna
just call it the clickbait.
Call it Blunty Bits.
Can I call it Spiky Shits?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I feel like I've seen it somewhere.
Probably.
All right, what's it?
That's it. Oh,
wow.
Haspil,
I'm awkward because we don't have Haspil here.
I got one. I got one. Remember, the Rubicon Primaris is just for Space Marines, but Noble Sacrifice is for everyone.
Finally, the Long War swag is here. LongWarSwag.com, the official home of Long War merchandise. We've got a range of merchandise exclusive to the Long War brand, next level painting, and spiky bits. Definitely log in today while supplies lasts.